weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script. Yeah, this weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script. Yeah, this weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Give me a second. Nope. All right. Yep. Sorry. Wanted to fix up my headphones. Good morning, loading. How are you doing? I hope you're having a beautiful morning. It is close to 5 o'clock. I usually, if ever, or I actually think about it now, it's been a long time since I streamed this early on. So I've been mostly sick, and so because I'm taking a lot of antibiotics and medication like that, my sleep schedule is kind of messed up, and it's kind of hard to sleep when you're full of mucus half the time. So I'm either up late at night trying to go get some sleep, or I'm just saying, I'm playing some game, some Call of Duty, whatever, to keep myself going. All right, as the title said, road to 500 subs. That I decided, why not make a goal for myself? Let's hit 500 subs if we could. Why not? And we're gonna do some A-logging of the lolcow universe, maybe some stuff from Nova Online. I found his YouTube channel, so that should be some entertaining stuff. And more or less, I wanted to touch base since I haven't streamed since last time I streamed was, I believe, Friday afternoon or something, like a couple days. I want to say it was like a good couple days since I started streaming, or at least I'm trying to get back to streaming. Right, as I said, I want to at least do like you know stream at least once a week, some point in the morning, and maybe if I could on the weekends, like in the afternoon, like late at night, like you know what I mean, do like a nice stream, like a nice cozy stuff. I'm not sure how long this stream is gonna last. It still depends on a number of things. I gotta be up early anyway today to go do some stuff. So I'm gonna be like, not a lot of energy. You know what I mean? It's gonna be one of those nights. But I'm drinking my nice, cheap $5 bag of general value coffee from Walmart, right? It is better than buying the $22 bag of gourmet coffee from lolcowlive. You know what I mean? And I made a whole fuss about that, right? Where you were paying 30 some dollars, $33, I think, for a bag of like I'm not even sure if you have to ground them or not. That could have just been like already grounded up coffee. Imagine paying almost like $30 for a bag of coffee plus shipping and handling. That's a little ridiculous, right? And I don't even think they had a lot in stock. I think from last time I heard it ran out. So I'm just like, damn, I couldn't even I can't even enjoy cheap ass coffee. Let's be real, it's probably not even that good as butterscotch coffee. You know, I get it. A lot of people like their flavor of coffee. A lot of people like, a particular kind of coffee. I get that. But I feel like, when you're trying to test out something like this, um, you should at least, in my opinion, go with something generic, like a regular ground coffee, just to give an idea of what people want. You shouldn't really you shouldn't expect people to pay, an arm and a leg for expensive flavor coffee. I think if you're gonna do that, wait till later on. Like I would say sell like very basic, like maybe like high quality Colombian coffee, right? Not like flavor coffee. If that's the case, I would just try to go Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, and I don't even like going to those places if I could. Mm. Black coffee, that's all I like it. No cream, no sugar, a whole lot of pain. Mm. This is just gonna be a very relaxing morning stream. Share, like, hate, all the good stuff, y'all. So I really don't know where we're gonna start in our little journey today. I think we're gonna start with the lolcow live stuff as always, as those are the guys I usually detract the most. See if I have it on hand. Yes, I do. I should have it any second. I'll give me a couple seconds, guys. So if you're not aware, they officially ended season 2 of Lolcow Live, which is hilarious because if you're not aware, season 3 of Lolcow Live, not season 3, season 2 of Lolcow Live started right around Halloween, and we're gonna go, a bit of memory lane, right? We're gonna go through a bit of memory lane, and the reason I'm doing that is, um, I want to give you a bit of a timeline of events, right? I want to give you a bit of a timeline of events that led up to season 3 kind of coming to an end, season 2 coming to an end. And what I mean by that is, well, again, I want to give you a timeline, give you an idea of where Lolcow Live went from to where it is now. And to some extent, we're not gonna really look at season 1 as a whole. It's I don't really feel like you need to, right? I feel like there's really no need to because I think when we hey Stinky bro, how you doing, man? Hope you're having a it's like 5:05, so it's probably like crack down on more. It's probably like early morning for you guys because y'all in UK time. If anyone saw the Canadian election, oh boy, that was just a disaster. It's funny how Canucks like to make fun of American politics, yet literally their own country is on the verge of a total collapse at this point. Like I know I not that I don't do my best to separate my politics from my YouTube channel. I think that's sort of a lie. I've spoken about my political opinions a number of times on the channel, but normally when certain it's AM, bro, shit, dude. Yeah, it's like yeah, you guys are 5 hours away, 5 hour ahead of us. It's like 5 o'clock where I'm at. I have not gotten any sleep. I fell asleep just when lolcowlive ended. They just no, I fell asleep like an hour before. Yeah, like around like the halfway mark, I passed out. So around like 7 o'clock, and I got up around like 12 o'clock. So I've been up for a little bit of time. These mans are kicking in real fucking hard on me. But back to Canuck news. Yeah, if you're not aware, and the up and up, the Canadian election just happened, and like from what I saw from the beginning of the election cycle, the Conservative parties were they were ahead, and then they right around I don't know what period of time, but then the Liberals came through and won, which isn't surprising, obviously. Um, like the Liberals in Canada have been winning election after election. Like if you want to see what a one-party dictatorship is, or in general what it is, look at Canada. Now again, I don't really get into politics so much. I'll get into it real fast. Um, I've spoken about my friends about these kind of stuff, and I've been on a lot of online political places in the past. Um, to the point where like I could tell you this much around like 2016, 2017, I remember Discord literally purging servers off their website, off their apps. And when I mean purging, I mean literal purging. It was that intense back then. Well, back to the Canucks news. From what I understand, the Liberals obviously won. Obviously that was going to happen no matter what. The Liberal Party in Canada has always been winning election for the last like what, almost the last 20 years, 10 years since Trudeau, and now we're seeing the results of it. I do know that the Conservative did better. It wasn't like a major victory on the Liberal end, but it was still nevertheless still a victory. Um, I mean, like, let's be real. The future of Canada is gloom, right? I may not be well versed in Canadian politics as much as that's a guy I watch. His name is Arjun. He did a 5 hour stream because he's Canadian, right? And I watch him a lot, right? And he goes into Canadian politics a lot, and he's very in depth about the political of Canada. I know Kino Casino. They also talk about politics as well. I know PPP and Annie Worski are deeply involved in their politics in Canada. I believe PPP is from British Columbia or something like that. He's around that area, right? He grew up in that area. I remember that much. And you know, it's funny because like the last couple of weeks, right? The Conservative Party in Canada were attacking America, and like they still lost the election. I mean, like besides demographic change and a bunch of other factors, and like where Canada as a country, it was always gonna go toward the at least a liberal victory more than a conservative victory. I mean, there's not really much that I can say besides what's been said on like X and from a lot of right wing Canadians, and I think the sentiment is very clear that the future of Canada is more or less doomed. Like I'm not here to be a doom poster. I'm not here to say, but it's like you know, at least in America under Trump, for whatever, if especially if you're more of an accelerist like me, at least with the Trump election, you don't have to deal with like what's going on in Canada or being replaced anytime soon. You know, at least there will be more jobs down the line. There's yeah, we're still gonna suffer, but I prefer to suffer short term than long term, and I prefer there to be end of the tunnel some growth down the line. But I think that's enough politics. We'll get into it when we do get into it. It's not something I force onto the channel. Mostly also because like on my end, like if I wanted to focus on politics on this channel, I would have done it a long time ago. Um, I probably would have done it around. Oh, wait, why did I go black screen? Oh yeah. Hello guys, we're gonna pop. We're gonna look at some stuff. What's I gonna say? Oh yeah. If I wanted to focus on politics, it would not be hard on my end particularly. Um, I know some people, right, on different Discord, I can get into politics, have in mind, we can talk about different political stuff. It's not something I do too often. Um, Mostly because like again, it's not what I care for right now. So hopefully you guys can see that. When we did that in real time. So I want to give you a bit of a timeline of where we at now with the lolcowlive universe. So where I consider technically when season 2 started, it's debatable when you can kind of debate when and where season 2 started, the exact point of time. I would say that prior before season 2, we started to see a cast of people kind of coming in and out, right? We saw Lings, we saw Becky, right? And RTs to some extent, right? So we saw different people one way or another coming into the show. After the Halloween special, and I think for the most part, most people can agree that the Halloween special um, costume content, contest, my bad, I think it's the beginning of season 2. It just for any amount of reason, it's where season 2 began, and it really went from that direction. I do have a video coming out in around like 7 o'clock today that kind of goes into it a little bit, but we're gonna go into here now. Season 2 started with a Halloween video, right? It was like Betty from the Discord came in and just had a big good time. And I honestly felt that at that period of time, it was, if not one of the best episodes, one of the best streaming episodes, just hands down. But after that, right, for the next 2 or 3, I would say the next 2 or 3 specials, um, and really to the election coverage, things were good. Then the election coverage happened. That was a great stream. Even if you don't really care for politics or care who won, I think if you're a lolcow live viewer, I think you can't deny that this was probably one of their best stream of it. I remember during the election just watching it through and through and having a great time, having a great blast, especially on the Discord. That was just a great time. Prior before I got kicked out and banned. After that, the episode after that was just like, pretty cool. It was just a very nice, relaxing stream. Pretty good one after that. And then right around here, Keem went missing, which I consider like the next couple streams at the Keem missing arc. Meaning that from here on onward, um, Keem wasn't really evolved for a bit of time. And then this is where we saw Tina and Kid behind the camera getting involved. And I think I can't remember which particular streamer was. I believe it was this one or this one. It was one of these two. We saw Billy. Obviously, Billy has been, a guest host on lolcowlive before, but also Tina kind of appeared with my kid behind the camera, and it really went from there. And I think with someone like Keemstar, he didn't expect Tina to be such liked. because right around the Thanksgiving special, which is another one, with I think other people can, if you want to debate, you can say the Thanksgiving special is when season 2 began, and it really did, because that's when they announced lolcowqueen for the first time, and from there onward, from the beginning of season 2, or really from this stream and onwards, lolcowlive more or less changed. Right. We had a whole bunch of stuff with Becky, a whole bunch of stuff with Lynx, a whole bunch of stuff with Grace. And I would say, if anything, this whole season up to now can be viewed as expanding yet detracting. What I mean by that, also forgot about the tryout episode where they had one. Hopefully that's the tryout I'm thinking of. Sorry. Yeah, I believe that's the first trial they ever had. This particular tryout, honestly, is where we had people like Zayzudit, Glammy, which is funny right here. Funny now we're talking about Glammy right there. It was like 3 months ago. Yep, around January. I mean, that wasn't the first tryout. I think we had another trial 2 or 3 streams prior. But from there onward, again, lolcowlive massively expanded. And then in the midst of around here, Rewind became his own show as well. They announced the beginning of Rewind. And again, it went forward from there. And it expanded from those 2 shows originally. And it just kind of went from there for the most part, right? We had multiple drama, multiple fight, multiple argument, multiple, allegation, false allegation, sort of the prepping of Fat Cam, and we really went from there. We also saw what I would consider the beginning of their banning or their gating, as in we saw them sort of we saw them make it very clear that they did not want particular people within the community. So this is around the time where I got banned off the lolcowlive server, and sort of where I took the channel from. Going from just talking about lolcowlive, from going full on detractor, and I would say that started right after Lynx got completely banned and fired off the lolcowlive universe, or the Discord and all that completely, when she was considered Voldemort 1 and 2, right? The whole Voldemort shit is pretty stupid, right? It's very. I'm not going to say it's left wing or right wing tactics because it's very stupid, but nevertheless, it's a tactic that politicians or particular groups of people use as a way to distinguish themselves from the quote unquote good people and quote unquote bad people. Let's be real, as human beings, we are very much gray through and through. We try to be more than we try to be one or the other, but we ultimately end up being very gray, right? From here onward, with the rest of the lolcowlive universe and their stuff, it really was more or less the same, right? They just kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And I would say right around prior before Fat Camp, but just right after Lynx and Grace got banned, we saw the development of lolcowtest, which was originally lolcowcore. We saw the first iteration of lolcow tech dog, which just recently came back actually from lolcow gaming. So Glammy got fired again. I kind of do, and I don't feel bad for her. We'll get into it when we get into it. They started really focusing on lolcows in general, and they started to focus more of internal stuff within the universe, within their discourse and everything. Which, in one hand, it wasn't bad, but on the other hand, it wasn't good. Because, on one hand, yeah, people like to know what's going on in their own community, what's happening, what's popping, who's the new content creator, who's in a ride, who's up and coming. But at the same time, it was like, well, what happened about talking to lolcows? What happened to bringing on lolcow? And I think they realized that they hit a sort of brick wall. Because there's only so many lolcows you can talk about. There's only so many lolcows you can bring on without getting lambasted. Which is very funny, given that like, again, it's funny to say that because They worry about bringing people like Nova Online, Jupiter the Hybrid, all these other people. I mean, they could easily bring in their detractors, right? They could bring in like um what's it? What's that? They can bring in MC Smokey. They can bring in Kiwi Tape. They can bring in all these other people who detract, or they at least they cover these locales, right? They could at least have done that, but they didn't. And I think it was a way for them to, maybe in a way to monopolize stuff. Maybe it was a way for them to focus on their own stuff, their own quote unquote locales, because it's what ended up happening was they did created their own locale, right? Becky was the first locale to really break out from lolcowlive. Um, if it wasn't Becky, it probably would have been Grace, right? Grace would have been their locale, their golden bull, right? The golden calf that they would have, quote unquote, you know, prayed to. That never ended up happening because just Grace and Bennett, the way they are not very controllable people. And I guess they realize that when you're dealing with more genuine locales, you can't really control them or their action, right? So that's why Becky became their locale, their golden calf, as a way to control the narrative, to control the context and the content and the story of what they want to do with Becky. And Becky kind of knows that, right? It's why the way she acts is so predictable. But after that, but after that, right? After me explaining everything, Fat Cam ended up beginning, right? Fat Cam started, and then let's be real, Fat Cam wasn't the best stream. Fat Cam had a lot of issues going right against it right away, especially the fact that Fat Cam was 2 weeks. With, in all fairness, Fat Cam should have been 1 week. You know, and from what we can tell with drama, internal issues, Becky leaving, quote unquote leaving, um, just kind of went from what everybody wanted to be, or really, let's be real. People wanted Fat Camp to be a disaster. They wanted to be a disaster they can make fun of. They can make content, for years on end. It sort of did and didn't happen. As in one end, there were a lot of moments in Fat Camp that people do enjoy. On the other hand, Fat Camp was a complete disaster that it more or less damaged lolcow live permanently. What I mean by that is these two particular stream basically set the stage of Wing's downfall from the lolcow live universe. Mostly because Keemstar did not want to admit that his show was scripted, even though later on, and I believe like the last two or three streams, he's kind of admitting that like he's a showman, right? They wanna, just like in wrestling, kind of like, how can I say, pump the vibes. You know what I mean? They wanna get people hype, but it more or less failed because the stream. What stream was it? The stream before that, 6 hours of hell, where they had, I believe, Becky. I think this is where Becky was brought back into the fold. Becky was brought back to the fold, and around this period of time, she got her hair cut. And really, after that, just by the numbers alone, right? The numbers alone can tell you that their viewership kind of dropped during the last couple of days of Fat Camp, right? Where Fat Camp was meant to last like what, 2 days? It didn't really look like it lasted more than like less than 2 weeks, right? It barely made it to the 2 weeks mark, and if anything, in a short. Said it was a boring disaster, not an entertaining one. Yeah, 100%. Like there's a few moments within their pockets, right? Lolcowqueens had a few moments that were funny. I think Rewind had at least one or two, but like in general, it wasn't really entertaining. And I think it had to do with there were too many people, right? There were too many people, not enough hands to do anything. Yo, Spud, LCO ain't what it used to be. Miss when they diss people like me with false allegations instead of in slurs. LCU crowd. It's not even that. The thing is that the thing about the LCU, right, under the season two, it started off promising. It started off what people wanted more. They wanted to be more high production. And in a way, LCU under season two was high production, but the issue was that they were so focused in creating other shows and left the main show really lacking. So a lot of the time they had to put in like a lot of fake drama or fake stuff to keep the main show going. And they didn't really bring any genuine lolcows because of the fear of being canceled, which is hilarious because Keemstar goes on about how much he hates cancel culture, how much he despises cancel culture, yet he's afraid of being canceled, which is very hypocritical. Because if you were afraid of being canceled, why the hell did you even decide to even give Wings a way back? It's very stupid. If you're not afraid of cancel culture and if you're wanting to stand on your own feet against the tide, then you should have just kept them and not been. It's a clear sign of hypocrisy. It's a clear sign of not standing your own ground. And again, not to get to political sentiment, is that cancer culture is neither left wing or right wing in itself. It's a tool to be used against your opponent, not because they're doing anything technically wrong, right? If you want to go off of that, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But it's a tool to use to silence your opponent for any amount of reason. They don't need to be right. They don't need to be wrong. You can still use it against them if you want. It's oversaturated with LCU shows, and all the shows are just one long delayed Discord call with everyone on every show is boring. The issue for me is FatCamp wasn't as advertised that they realized they could pump out any crap said on the sofa. It's like how Family Guy fell. It lazy writing, but got money anyway. Imagine if they had Milkers, the Wings thing, and done episodes, it would have rivaled the Cancer arc too. 100%. The mic stuff. Well, I forgot the. Oh God! Holy shit! I was very far away. I forgot to talk about the mic stuff. Thanks for reminding me. The problem with the mic stuff is it started really hard, but then they quickly put it out. Now that started with Becky because Becky felt like she was, trapped. She was back in the corner, which is sort of true in a way. I'm not gonna lie. I would say that Becky was backed in the corner, but at the same time, she did it to herself. She can't just try to be a victim, yet at the same time, be the abuser. It's like kind of goes both ways. Like she's a crybaby, as people would say. Also, what was I fucking trying? With the mics up currently, I think he's realizing that it has become oversaturated, right? All the shows are just one long, disco call, right? Rewind has gotten boring and stale. Milker is stale like bad milk. Not Milker, Queen, right? The three original shows have, the original show lolcowlive without Winged Redemption lost its spirit, right? It lost what made it worth watching a lot of the time. Yes, they are bringing a new host, and we are gonna talk about it. But it's funny because Boogie was kind of weirdly gatekeeping the person, because he wanted an actual YouTuber. The problem is, no self-respect YouTuber is going to bend to the knee to Keemstar, right? Unless they're desperate or they have no other option, they're not going to bend to the knee to Keemstar. It's like Boogie doesn't realize that like most people who have no opportunity, not that they don't have any opportunity, it's just when they're left with nothing, they take what they get, and especially when you're in a position where you don't have a lot of money, uh, you know, you work who you have to work for. And if you don't like it, it is what it is. And it is sad to say that, but it is true. So Wing crashing out over scripting Becky intro was what led to the crash out. If Keemstar was smart, had put wings on the gaming channel, but he's not smart, so 100%. If wings would have been sent over to the gaming channel probably would have made a lot of money for the lolcowlive universe. If anything, it probably would have been part of the main block. Or at least it would have been its own separate thing people would have gone to watch anyway, as sort of a um as a side show from the rest of the show. Like, if people don't want to watch Becky and Tina fight for the 30th time, they can watch Wings of Redemption play Call of Duty or Oblivion and have different people from the Discord come in and talk about the games they're playing. They never did that because Keemstar's it's an idiot, right? Keemstar likes to think he knows everything. But clearly he really doesn't. But and that's what I mean. It's like if you're not afraid of cancel culture, then why bend to the knee anyway? If you don't care about your audience or the viewers, why bend to the knees? And it shows that he is a hypocrite, right? It's when he gets a bit of pressure onto him, you know, he bends to the knee. And I think that's the general feeling. Like, I think if I was a host with the LCU and Keemstar was yelling at me, I literally would have just muted him. Like, I would have straight up muted him and be like, then came back to him and be like, are you not talking to me like a child and we can have a conversation? Because these people like to play the game of character and then real life and all this stuff. But then when push comes to shove, they bend real hard. I mean, I just said two ways he could have made bank off of it, but I'm retarded, so it's what W my thing. Well, it's not even that. He could have. He made a lot of like. Let's be real. Let's be genuinely real. If Keemstar really wanted to, he would have just kept wings on, and then he would have just used the hate that he would have gotten by the wing detractor, because the wing detractors are so dedicated to their fervor against wings that they would have donated money just to shit on wings. The issue is that Keemstar was happily influenced by people like Tina and Xylee, who are abuse victims, right? But the problem is, it's like, okay, I can understand Tina, but like Tina currently is defending somebody who is, let's be real, probably is an abuser and has seen it a number of times, but she won't say a word because the money is too good. It's like, as I said before, when you're in a desperate situation, you take any opportunity you want. And Tina has admitted that before, that she takes any opportunity she can, even if she doesn't like it. Yeah. Now, Xylee said she's been abused before in the past, but like the thing with Xylee is, like, I'm not sure how true it is, but I don't know enough about Xylee to make a conclusion of whether or not she's lying or she's telling the truth. I've heard a lot of things that Xylee did in the past that are very questionable, but again, I don't know what exactly is true and what isn't true, so I'm not gonna really judge her. At the same time, like, you know, the fact that she kind of just stood there and let him, like, let's be real. If Xylee really wanted to, why didn't Xylee stand up against Keemstar when the whole Mike stuff started to happen prior with the whole thing, him dating Bridget when she was young? Why didn't she stand up? Because that is a form of abuse in a way, right? So some people, that is a form of abuse. So why didn't you stand up then? And why didn't you make an opinion loud? And I think it's mostly because, like, well, let's be fair, she just probably shut her mouth because the money was too good, and she knew that Mike would bring in a lot of people. And that's really the case. I remember during Keemstar's show, she did a whole stream shouting how bad Keemstar is, God hate Donald, etc., and then appear in person on Keemstar's show one day later and can't trust her with anything. Yeah, that makes more sense. Because the truth is, I believe she comes from the commentary community, and from what I remember, like you can't really trust commentators, right? And I don't even know if you want to consider my channel a commentary community. I consider more of my stuff at detractor and covering. But I guess if you want to consider me as a commentary, I'm not gonna hold it. I'm not gonna hold that against people. It is what it is. At the same time, a lot of them do bend to the knee. But Xylee was such. But let's be real, not a lot of people know Xylee as a commentary because, for the most part, commentary channels have more or less only concentrated with a few big names, and that's about it. People didn't really care about Xylee until recently, and I think she took an opportunity to make money. That's really what it is, you know. And a lot of these people like to go off the whole, I'm playing a character. I'm playing this kind of person, which is very weak in the end of the day. Just be yourself. Just be who you want to be, right? Just enjoy yourself. Not, stop playing this whole game of I'm not this, I'm that. You know. Mm. God, I love drinking black coffee in the morning. The worst part is gotta go do something around 10, so what are we looking at? Oh, holy crap, we're only an hour into me talking. We haven't even watched the video. But yeah, ultimately, as we're getting into see, it's real until light criticism happens, then it's a character. Well, it happens all the time, right? It happens all the time with these people. Like, Grace. It happened with Grace all the time. Anytime Grace gets any type of pushback, anytime Grace gets any type of criticism, she always played it's just for content. It's only a character. I was the goof. I was playing a goof. It's happened all the time, and I'm sick of it. Just if you're a degenerate in real life, just be a degenerate on the internet. People would respect you. You'll still be criticized for being a degenerate, but at least people would respect you because you're being who yourself. You're being you as a person and nothing more. And that's what it gets me like upset. That's why I like watching people like Ruby or Lynx or people like that. A lot of smaller channels because they're playing themselves. They're not. At least Ben Thorpe is what he is. Yeah, yeah. I would say of the two, Ben isn't really playing a character. Ben is who he is. Where I think Grace is trying to play a character, but I think it's to a point where no one buys her character. No one buys it at all because we know it's fake. We know what she's really like. She's, you know, everybody said it. Like, Grace is probably a whore. She may or may not be in an incestual sexual relationship with Ben, right? She's clearly at their content. She's basically like a lot of the TikTok girls are like, a lot of the Instagram YouTuber girls are like these e-girls. That's what she is in the end of the day. I think if she wasn't doing YouTube, she probably would be doing OnlyFans. She'd probably be a pornographer. Let's be real. And from what I understand from her house life and from her own personal life, it is sad because that's a lot of those people who have a lot of hardship in their life end up kind of turning into that, especially a lot of women, right? And you would think that like Ben being so close with her would be a good thing, but I think what ended up happening is like Ben uses Grace as a substitute wife. I don't think Ben really sees Grace as a daughter. She sees Grace as a wife, and a lot of people made that point number of times. I think Ruby and Lynx and Ava have made that point. Everybody in her own Discord probably made that point number of times. That she's not she's more or less Ben's wife without without any sexual stuff. He cucks every opportunity for her. I do agree with that, but also like Grace does it to herself. Grace doesn't know how to make They talk about social skill. They talk about people not having social interaction, but it's like Grace isn't any better. The way he says you're evil is just like your mother to manipulate her is wild. Yeah, and it's because I think because of all of that, it's why I don't think Grace will ever be in a real relationship. I don't think Grace will ever get married or be any type of like romantic relationship. And it's sad to say that, but and she's admitted that. And you can kind of tell that it kind of like hits her hard every time she has to admit that she'll never be in a genuine relationship, right? She talked about wanting to be in a relationship with Nick Fuentes, right? But like the difference is like maybe like the thing is like let's say Nick isn't like gay, right? Let's be real. Let's say Nick isn't gay. You know, end of the day, he's still good looking enough, and he still has enough fame and money to be able to pull any girl. Why would he want to pull Grace? Let's be real. And I don't think he has that much hardship in his life where he'll act like Grace. Where, you know, in the case of Grace from her childhood up to now has been nothing but a disaster. Loma Ben would get shot if that happened. Probably. Probably. Um but also like they also are trying to make quick money whenever they can. Like I think end of the day, and as I said that Grace would never get married. And I know everybody wants to say, "Oh, Grace should get married. Grace should have a boyfriend. Grace should have a husband." Truthfully, I think Grace should avoid any relationship in the near future completely because she's been so damaged by her own action, Ben's action, the whole divorce between her father and him, right? You know, all of that. That it would be better if she either log off from the internet for like 2 3 years and focus on doing real life stuff. She doesn't even have a college. She doesn't even have a high school degree, so she couldn't even get most jobs if she wanted to, right? So her main focus would be on YouTube. But the problem is that her streaming career focused on a lot of the drama between her and Ben and the people around them. So for her to still make the money she would, just to be able to survive, she would have to collaborate with people that she already burned the bridge with. And that's never gonna happen. There's no repairing them, right? She burned the bridge with Keemstar. She burned the bridge with Lynx and Ruby and Ava and Prawn. There's too many bridges that have been burned to the ground. And there's no way of recovering. Keem Curran Grip banning the show that make the least money. 1K membership on Cafe. 500 on Queen. Lolcowtest eat begging right now. Same people on the panel as the other show. Banning the show that I mean the future of Cat, like let's talk about that because really season 2 finale and the end of really season 2 in general within the LCU is one big whimper. That's all what it is. Lockout test e-begging with Xylee, Grim, and other on screen. They should be on still. Hold up, guys. It should be.
What do you mean by handlebars?
Handlebars.
Dali? Are you talking
They
about
go down to here.
Hulk Hogan?
Here we are.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan? Okay. I don't think that's called handlebars. I think that's called something else. But
Fuck
yeah, I know what
You
you mean.
got it though.
What the hell are they even doing? Is he shaving his beard?
I was thinking Nightmare.
Yeah.
He doesn't shave his face. So those are his pube, like, buzzers.
They have 302 viewers. I mean, like, it is like 5 o'clock in the morning in Eastern time, so they're not gonna get that many. This is why I'm saying it's the same people all day long. Why save a show? Because because in Keemstar Eye, he invested too much time and money to just simply take a show. Like, also, plus, Grim is Muslim. He's not supposed to be shaving his beard. Like, unless there's a particular reason, he's not supposed to be shaving his beard. I'll get into this real fast because I never really made this. I never got a chance to make this opinion. I don't think Grim is Muslim, or if he is Muslim, he's what we consider a moderate Muslim. And they are in. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to these people, but a lot of them could be insufferable, right? I don't know. Like I met a lot of them in real life, and there a lot of them are pretty cool, but the online one, they're just insufferable fucking people. The reason is probably for Donald go probably, yeah, but like if he's going off the Muslim stick, you can't shave your beard from money. That's not oh my god, what's the word? It's not halam. He shouldn't be doing that. Like it's like if a Catholic was told to rip, if it's like if you gave $50 to a Christian to rip pages off the Bible and burn them, and still call yourself a Christian at the end of the day. How does that even fucking work? Like this shit this shit. This shit pisses me off actually. But I guess it's their way of trying to shave a show. It's trying to save something that, at this point, it kind of does deserve to crash and burn. Like I don't dislike Grimm a lot. I think he's whatever. But it's like, dude, like, what even is lolcowtest at the end of the day, right? What even is the purpose of these shows? Is it meant to test something? Is it meant? I would say to rename it, rebrand it to something like lolcow, coast to coast, right? Like make it a talk show, right? Where it's just two guys, shooting the shit and bringing in different people, right? Like coast to coast or stuff like that, but they don't. This man really just broke a ten of events. I guess his excuse would be like, well, other people do it, so why? Yeah, but like, isn't the idea to try to be?
It does not help that I'm wearing this.
Lolcow truckers, dude.
Like, what is he even doing? Hold up, I'm pretty sure there's a Muslim law that you're not supposed to.
Or not as the camera's a mirror. Mega chin. You got it.
You know what? I may get banned. I'm a.
I would start from the top and work your way down, no?
Hold up, I'm gonna post something on there and see if I get banned or not.
Again, I've never done this.
I know. Only because I'm thinking, because then you can line the handlebars.
I'm gonna see if they respond to it.
Yeah, down from there. See, we got like a little bit more. You go a little bit more then.
You,
get in there.
You can also use it
On the side. Yeah, I just thought about that.
like this.
So maybe if you
sideways.
turn it off, line it up to where it's perfectly aligned where the mustache is supposed to be, and then turn it on.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
that.
rough.
Yeah, you
This is
can.
rough.
Yeah, I know.
Wait a
Just
second.
take your time with it, bro. Take your time.
I'm trying to like figure out how to fucking do this.
It's alright. You good? You good? Yeah, pop out your chin like that.
You know what? Wait, I'm just gonna work on everything else so I can like
Yeah,
figure out exactly.
I got you.
what
Got you.
I got fucking hair in my mouth. Actually, wait,
Beans
did
is
you
gonna
see, like, right
fucking
here?
kill me. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
looking where the yeah, you're looking about there down. Make sure your hair's pushed
Like,
up,
right
brother.
here.
Push your hair up
Just to be
first.
clear.
Yeah, but push your hair up first.
I guess you can trim your mustache like that. That's
There we go.
you know.
Come on, yeah, you don't want to make that mistake.
Right there.
Tiny bit higher. Literally tiny bit higher,
Higher?
but do it at an angle.
So right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do it at an angle. Oh no, fuck it, actually, no, you'll be fine. Barbers will sort that out for you. There we go, perfect.
Like that.
Yeah, there we go,
Yeah.
beautiful. Now do it to the other side, and we'll line you up.
Yeah, it's not haram.
Yes, we can get it done. Make sure you tuck that.
Like
hair
I'm not
away.
even
Tuck
Islamic,
the
and
hair
even
away.
I know. Holy shit.
sorry.
Fucking hair. No, I don't want you shaving your fucking head as well. Okay.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
You're
Okay,
alright.
okay.
You're alright.
Huffy in the chat says Bean's gonna need flood insurance when she sees this.
Hey yo.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, my bad.
Show it. Right, look. Keep
So like
straight and
right
point in.
there.
You're looking at.
Sorry for
tip
that.
you want to do is
Yeah,
if you put a finger in your ear hole.
Said lockout. So
line.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. It's
so
Paypic,
take
dumb
your
as
finger in your
fuck.
ear,
It's not
yeah, see where the line
non-10.
You can see
The
where-
reason is probably
yeah,
a
so pull the
donut.
finger
I'll go
down.
in and bring it up. You're gonna do it. Christian uses a law against cutting
Are you
hair
okay
beard
with
to
that,
Old
Matt?
Testament.
Yeah.
Audio
So
laws
the
are
finger
in.
is
Yeah,
just
sorry for
gonna-
that.
there.
So like right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, like, deliberately ignore. They're going to have.
So I can use my dominant hand.
Well, they have. So he's gonna have to ignore the law he's
There we
breaking
go.
because there's no excuse, right? Like from what I understand, like I think the excuse. Holy shit, my audio. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Like I think if there was an excuse, it would have to be like medical or surgical or something like that, where it's permissible or certain military stuff. But if you're doing it for money, that would be viewed as sinful because you're doing it for greed. And I think it depends on the denomination. Like Grim said he's Muslim, but like, are you Sunni? Are you Shiite? Are you like something else? Right? It's like, it's kind of ignoring. It's very annoying as hell that these people pull this shit all the
Revoke your
time.
passport for every country that we think you come from.
Hey, dude, you look like you on a lawnmower.
Also, I'm pretty sure he ate pork in the
Sorry, I'm
past.
trying not to- Sorry, I'll stop.
Oh fuck! It keeps on falling. God damn it!
Yeah, all right.
Just sweep after,
Sorry.
you'll be fine.
It says scream. It said Grim is going whatever Muslim go when he dies to hell. Probably.
This is hard to determine at this point. Like, what
If
the
you
fuck to do.
go to just below the lower lip, I think that'll be accepted.
Just below the lower lip,
Oh,
so like right
follow
here.
this.
So the
you see
chin
where
line.
the
You know
divot
where
in your
yeah,
chin
the
is?
divot in your chin. Just
Yeah,
follow
Why are we
the
getting
line.
5
that
viewers?
line down.
Yeah, that's
Go like
fair.
this down. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, you mean the people that convert to
Yeah,
Islam?
you're all good, dude. You're all good.
I know what you're referring to. To individual like Foodie Booty. I didn't even realize Foodie Beauty even converted to Islam until like the last 2 or 3 years. I thought she was just fat. I thought she was just straight up fat. She was wearing like a fat
Alright,
suit or
okay,
something.
okay.
Like you know, like there's certain
Easy to
clothing
learn.
for
Yeah,
fat
no,
people. That's what I really thought for the longest time. Somebody said they're weird to quote the Quran while saying it
You
all.
just need to line up the other one a little bit.
Is that right?
No,
What do you guys think?
I'm pretty sure.
More on your left.
More on this side, right?
Yeah.
See, there is a quote from the Quran.
Yeah.
Good or no?
Beautiful.
Putting law on the beer.
Think
What
so?
the hell?
Wow, this looks bigger.
No. It's about right. It's about right. Holy shit, you
Hold
look
up, let me
young
pull it
as
down.
fuck, dude. Yeah.
Good or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So for what I
Oh my God,
understand,
please don't touch my
I
fucking
looked at it real fast. It's not an explicit. So gluttony is a sin. Is that too?
Where's your mindset at the moment?
Yeah, 100%.
No longer Muslim, that's for sure.
Fucking A.
Not to this point.
That's sad.
That looks so weird, man.
It does
Look like I'm looking at a
strange.
fucking.
Dude, you look
I
like
feel
a-
like I'm Oompa.
I don't know why, but
Dude,
that
it's
kind of
really like
saddens me.
Oompa.
Well, Muslims
I
are
look like
basically
Oompa.
same as old Christian. If Old Testament says forbidden to
Oompa
save, I
Milk?
believe you.
Hassan Piker's
Man of
little
God,
brother.
Fucking Oompa, bro.
You like
Like,
Hassan Piker's
Oompa,
younger
cinnamon
brother.
toast Ken,
Like, no headphones.
I'm not an
Who
expert
else?
in Islamic law. Yeah, he just straight up said like, yeah, I'm not a Muslim. I'm like, dude, why even? I don't know.
Alright,
Yeah, I'm
okay,
gonna
no,
have to
we'll
show you
leave that for now. You can tidy it up in like 5-10 minutes.
He looks like
Or,
the Boras guy. That's what he reminds me. He looks like
Yeah,
Boras.
no, I got you, bro. I got you. You do what you need to do. Your mother's gonna kill you, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fucked. I'm
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah,
Fuck.
dude.
That's.
Oh my god, the
Yeah.
mankini I forgot about that.
Yes. Oh yeah, we forgot about Mankini, right?
Like, for real, dude.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah, look at that.
show some fucking support. Yeah, can we get some fucking W's in the chat for this handsome bastard? Which genuinely, by the way, looks young as fuck. What the?
He does look
fuck,
pretty
dude?
young.
He like fucking 18, 20? Like what the fuck?
It's the live action Mario movie.
Yeah. That's actually bang on. So Tech Percent,
Alright,
how are you
your
feeling
turn.
about this? Huh?
Sad.
We're here now.
Look at you. You look beautiful.
Welcome, brother. God, I look like I could be racist.
I wish I had
Just give me
fucking.
some, like,
I wish I
some
had
aviators.
graders, man.
He looks like the
You no
Boras
longer can
guy.
Talk about Israel Palestine. I'm sorry.
GG.
Yeah.
Well, you got to, yeah, you got. Well, you got him to admit he's not a Muslim.
Live action Mario movie ass.
What up, brother?
Well, it would be a lot.
Fucking
See-
idiot. Dude, you like,
If he would have just stood his ground, it would have been better.
like you look really
Like you could kind of tell that like Grim is like the bottom of the relationship between him and Nightmare. Nightmare is very much like a domineering, stronger individual compared to Grim, who is very much like timid. But from what we understand, from what Grim has said, right? Grim said that he was very much bullied. He got into a lot of fights, so he's not as aggressive as he used to be, and he's been into therapy, which is fair. But like, you shouldn't be taking shit like this, or if you're going to
like it's kind of like
say Allah is forgiving. Wait, somebody said on the server, Allah is forgiving and merciful. If you sincere repent, He seeks forgiveness. He will surely accept our sincere prayer. Somebody just said that on.
no, but no, the handlebars.
The problem is that I don't think he is sincere. I don't think he would ever be sincere about doing it. Just by his mannerism or act, I could be wrong. Like, I want to be wrong that he would be sincere, that he would repent, but I don't think he will. I don't seriously think he would repent. Like, I would have to ask somebody who's more Islamic and ask them their opinion on this kind of stuff, rather than going off of my opinion, right?
Get some of the fucking W's in the fucking chat, for real.
Right.
So let's give some fucking love to our boy Grimmy Grim, who's just like.
So like I can't simply just like, I'm only going off of what I could go off of my own opinion. Right? Like maybe he'll feel bad about this the next day, and maybe he'll talk to Nightmare about this, like, hey, let's never do this again. But if he decides to break it, then he was never sincere. So why, I don't think, God, right, would forgive him. Obviously, because the word Allah is Arabic for God. Sweeping with W's in the chat, Lamo. The LCU is lolcows. Like they're all lolcows, and like that's what they are. They're a W group, but you scam the fan. That's no handlebar, bro. Holy shit, that's pretty funny. Well, because ultimately they are lolcows. They are becoming lolcows down the line. Like Becky is probably one of the biggest lolcows at this point, right? And then like if we're going off of a list of who are the biggest lolcows, it would probably be like Keemstar number 1, Boogie number 2, Becky number 3, Tina number 4, number 5 is Kid Behind the Camera. 6 would probably be like Zay. Number 7 would actually be One Buff Weed. Like, I feel like with One Buff Weed, if you like disagree with him extremely hard and just give him a bit of pushback, he'll act like a lolcow. We're gonna probably watch some Nerds a little bit. Let me bring up Nerd, because Nerds had a very interesting
tomorrow.
Nerds had an interesting stream today that I actually I did a video on it. It'll probably be out later today, if I can find it. Here we are.
Pick out the most.
Okay.
Because.
Let's see.
Like, think of the
Jesus Christ, he's all he looks like. Zay literally reminds me of a Section 8 hood rat girl. She literally reminds me of what a Section 8 hood rat woman is like. Like, the bony ass cheek that are so sunk in, the baby daddy, I ain't gonna harp on somebody with this stuff, because, like, I'm not gonna harp anybody who, like, I ain't gonna lie, some of the art for this looks pretty cool. So I'm not gonna harp on the weed stuff, because I like the art that the package are in. Like, I know that sounds so weird me to say. I'm not gonna hate her on that part. I like the packaging. I like how they look. I like the decoration of it. I like how he kind of puts it in like a brick style. I'm not gonna hate on her for that one. I'm not. Right? I'm not coping and seeding, guys. I'm not coping. you know, this stuff right here, I'm not gonna. I know some people kind of harp about it in the past. I'm like, who cares? Like, come on, we all have dumb shit, right? Like, you know, look at One Buff Weed, right? He has all the anime shit.
Lolcows that there are.
Hold up. So we're gonna get to where.
It's open right here. That's
All right, yes, yeah. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some coffee. So we're gonna go through some of the Zayzoo stuff. I found some of it to be kind of interesting from what I watch, and just her sort of counter stuff from Cafe. We'll watch a little bit of Cafe, but let's focus on the Zay stuff, and we're gonna move a little backwards.
You have the whole. It should be on the docket
What clips? You gotta tell me what you're looking for, but
for the whole you Sneeko thing and them talking on
there's
you
no
on
clips
test.
of that on the docket.
What? None. Hold on.
You gotta
Hold
be
on,
telling
hold the
people
fuck
what
on.
clips you want. You can't
Hold the
just
fuck
fucking
on.
mind fucking blast and expect them to know.
Hold on.
She is right, 100%. I do agree. You can't expect what people like. If you want particular, you have a docket team under your wing. You should, by your own merit, be able to tell them what to do. Like, hey, can you grab these clips, or can you grab these clips from this stream that Cafe had? You can easily do that or test, right? I don't like. I'm not trying to harp on the guy because he's clearly is naive, right? He is, and I'm not any better, right? I am learning. I'm trying to improve, try to get better with these streams, my videos. So I'm not better myself, but I will admit that, right? And I'm working by myself. I'm a one-man team. Buff has a whole squad of people beneath him that can do it, or he can ask anybody within the LCU. He can even ask Xylee to do it in her free time, or he can ask Xylee to teach him how to get clips, where to get clips, right? He doesn't do that, and like that's come on, man. Like, and I get it, he's brand new, but like that can't be an excuse in the next 2 or 3 months.
What the fuck? I thought.
Also, shout out to King TL for always shitting on these people. It is hilarious. Every time he pops on their stream and just dogs on them. I love it when he dogs on One Buff Weed because there's a clear difference of energy between One Buff and King TL.
Thought it was on there. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
All right, let me
number
just- let me-
one, why
let
are
me-
we gonna show clips of this boring? First off, let's start by saying, why are we gonna show clips of this boring stream that Keem literally said is boring on our? Just talk about it. Just fucking say whatever. What do we need clips for? We are not Rewind.
You're not Rewind, but having clips are very important to illustrate points or give perspective or give context to people. You can explain something, but it's always good to have clips to explain. That's why I do in my videos, I have clips. I have clips and I respond, right? Back and forth, right? A bit of a dance, a tango, right? Because I want to illustrate what's being said and give some type of context to the story I'm trying to tell. You have to do that as well. You can't just simply just tell people stuff and then not give some type of context or visual stuff. I do agree that not everybody watches YouTube streams visually. A lot of people do watch streams as an audio, but you still have to, right? You still need to talk about the clips that are being said. If you guys are the one who are going to watch it, you still need to be the one to give context. You can't just talk about it, because if you just talk about it, you can easily change the story or the perspective or frame it in a certain way without giving the clips. Clips are meant to sort of, I guess, in the LCU as a way to kind of like give people their own opinions, I guess, in that way.
What? Do you remember what you were talking
Beer
about
30
on
Clop
Fresh and
super
Fit?
chatted $19.99.
I'm gonna put this in a higher speed.
Also, aren't we getting lit?
We are. That's another rip. That's like 3 more because of God.
Mine's charging right now.
Continue your story. And then
Yeah, I forgot they were smoking like the weed pen, and they were like, "Oh yeah, every donation, they'll take a hit or two." And I'm like, "Hey, game is game. I'm not gonna harp on them, right? I'm not gonna harp. Game is game. But you gotta make money somehow, and smoking weed on stream is how you do it. Hey, game is game. I'm not gonna hit on them that hard. It would be
Everybody
funny,
wants to
but
cancel you for
I could do
being part
better."
of Sneeko being close to him. You talking about, I guess, the difference of being like raped once and multiple rapings. They felt like you were on there standing all these misogynistic ideas, and as a woman, you should feel ashamed for even being there in the first place, which I agree with. But at the same time, I feel like as a person, I should let you explain yourself and how you feel about you being on there and what they feel like they're labeling you is correct or not.
Well, let's start by saying, first off, my opinions are my own. Second off, I went on a podcast 2 years ago. Am I exactly sure particularly what thing you're talking about? No, but I do know the situation which you're talking about. And we were referring to an older podcast that Sneeko was on. I watched him do a debate with Destiny. And do I remember exactly what happened?
Nico is another political kind of people, commentator, IRL streamer. He's also like a lot of people criticize him for being a fake Muslim, which is probably true. He is a grifter. To the point where even like the Tate brothers don't even want to be involved with him, which is pretty crazy. Not even Andrew Tate, not even the Tate brother want to be involved. That is crazy. That not even they want to be part of you. They don't want anything to deal with you. That is 100% crazy, right? That is actually crazy. But I also think that Sneeko is like a contrarian, and he the least. And I would even say that the one thing you can say about Sneeko is that he's honest about his opinion. Those opinions of what he said, regardless if you agree with it or not, are his opinion, and he is very sincere, and he won't back down. Whether you agree with it or not, that is one thing you have to give to Sneeko. And obviously, you know, besides him being a grifting Muslim, who obviously he knows he can't get out of, because he met a bunch of Emmons in the past. So you know, even if he were to attempt to deconvert, he would be hunted like a dog.
No, it was over 2 years ago. So whatever I was talking about had something to do with that debate. I don't fucking remember. Do I really care that I was on Fresh and Fit 2 years ago? Not particularly. I didn't even know Sneeko was going to be there. That is something I've said multiple times. The reason I took a picture with Sneeko was because it was really funny. Because he got canceled and I got canceled around the same time. So it was like really funny.
I believe the time it was 2 years ago, so this was in 2023 or 2022. It was around the time that him and Charlie Moist Critical got into some argument over about guns and stupid shit. Like let's be real. Like apparently Sneeko was calling clips. He was calling magazine clips, and then Charlie went on about like they're not. That's not how that works. Even though like most normal people don't really care, right? Most normal people they're gonna look at a magazine clip as the same thing. It's sort of how parents view almost every game console like the 90s and 80s as like Nintendo. They don't know the real differences or the stuff behind it and what makes it different. You can't really blame people, right? Not because people don't want to be educated, it's because most people don't have that kind of time. And the time they do have, they're spending it in other forms of hobbies.
I posted it on, I think, my Instagram story, and that was about it. I would go on Fresh and Fit.
And to be fair, if I met Sneeko, I would also take a picture. I would actually 100% take a picture of Sneeko. I don't like the fellow, but I'll do it because it's like, hey, I met Sneeko.
Why?
Pretty cool.
It's the podcast. It's promotion.
I
True.
know that you're a tough person, and you know any type of press sells, negative or positive. But do you know what it looks like for you to be going on one of those things and them just degrading people or just women in general like that, using them as punchlines, using them as props, as meat shields for their disgusting, incelic, fucking misogynistic ideologies?
I mean, to each their own. Like, it depends on what everybody considers misogynistic. Do I think that their takes 2 years ago are different than what their takes are now? Absolutely. Have they gone the more extremist route in the more recent years? Absolutely. But they didn't degrade me. They were extremely nice to me. They offered.
I agree with her. Honestly, this was one of the very few times where I actually genuinely agree with her. Opinion do change. Some people go extreme, some people go moderate. I surely have, for the most part, but that's due to different life circumstances. I would even say that what's considered misogynist or whatever does change to people. I've seen this all the time. Hell, you can even debate that within the incel, MGTOW, red pill community. You know, they have always what's considered like anti-male is different from individual to individual. I think when Buff Weed, I guess his attempt to not really go on the side of Tess or go against Zay, but kind of not be in the middle, didn't really work out well as he thought. You know, and I've said this before in the past. I'm not the biggest incel. I don't like most incel, but I understand where the incels are coming from. I feel like simply just degrading them, ironically enough, as he said, isn't a good thing either. I think, nevertheless, they're individuals who are mad against the world, and you can't blame them a lot of the time. That's at least a reason, both a biological and you could even look at a statistical reason of why things are like that, and you can't blame those people. You know, I'm not gonna simply call somebody an incel and degrade them for that kind of stuff. I understand. You know, my way of looking at things, it's more understanding. Even if I disagree with you or find you disgusting or vermin, I can at least try to attempt to understand it. Though you can say that over rationalizing things and trying to find a rational thing isn't healthy, which is 100% true.
Offered to pay for my valet. They actually offered for me and my boyfriend to come to the club with them after. Me and the girl sitting next to me, the one in the Reptar sweater, they offered for both of us to go to the club with them after because they enjoyed us being there. They were very pleasant to us. They might put on a character on screen, but off screen, that's the one thing I don't understand. People being in the lolcow universe where everybody wants to call everything scripted here can't seem to realize that maybe these other people are playing somewhat of a character when they're on screen and maybe aren't that off screen. Look, I went to a podcast. I did an interview. So did everybody else there.
But the problem is that there's not a clear line and people don't want character. But at the same time, you can't deny that the LCU pushes for characterization of their hosts. And then when the hosts come out that I was just playing a character, they use it as an excuse. I don't want, like, people want the host to just be hosts. Stop with the whole characterization. Stop being this. Be who you are. And if you're just a horrible person, end of the day, you're just a horrible person and accept that. If you're just whoever you are in the end, just accept it as who you are. Right? If you want to amplify a particular personality of your go for it. But like, there's a reason why people think the LCU is heavily scripted. And it mostly have to do with like milkers and queens and like, Mike. It doesn't help. Right, but it also can start commanding people in a whim and make them and tell them to do certain things. Doesn't help that case either.
Went back a second time after that. They were nice to me. I didn't have a bad time. Are they aggressive on camera? Absolutely, but that's the character they play.
Look. I
agree.
got some really weird people. King TL. I don't know what the fuck you mean by she carries me. She definitely helps me. I'm a scattered-brained idiot. And I don't know what you mean.
Well, they both carry each other. I think TK has a kind of a point that without Zay, one Buff Lee would just be a random Discord person, and because he doesn't use OBS and is too scatterbrained to focus, even though he has a host of people beneath him, he can ask for help. Ironically enough, he harps against that with Eric a lot, but he doesn't do it himself.
Buff being a huge virtue signal. If you have a woman in your life and you agree with certain people with these dumbass, horrible fucking ideologies, then that's some personal thing that you had because
it
some
depends
girl
on what you're
was
agreeing
mean.
with, though.
I'm not talking to
what
you.
You're agreeing with. I just want to say that because not everything of what I think people look at what they say, right, and they look at their extremist values and they're like, these are inherently wrong. But I would totally disagree with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But they're less extreme values. Some of them aren't bad. Like, some people just want to live a more traditional conservative lifestyle, and that's up to them. Like, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but this whole guilty by association and the LCU bullshit is a little bit crazy when we're literally sitting in a place where somebody faked having cancer. Like, think of the lolcows that there are in all the—
She's right. She's 100% right. Because by that logic, everybody in the lolcowlive universe should be completely canceled for being associated with Boogie, but they're not. I do agree. I think her takes here are 100% valid. I think what she's saying is true. It's one of the very few times where I would 100% agree with Zay because her takes are actually very valid. You could kind of tell that, like, one buff Wee was just kind of going in ready to berate her, but like the fact that she made solid point, he kind of had to back off and accept it as it is.
And we're honing in on me sitting on a podcast with Sneeko. Like,
No,
I'm
I just want to tell you.
association.
No, I just want to tell you. Personally, I don't give a fuck whose podcast you're on. I'm just being. We are told to address
Yeah. I see.
this, and that's why we're addressing it. Because personally, I don't really give a fuck. I think Sneeko and all the people in his ilk are pieces of shit.
Okay, but if you don't care, but then you say, but then you call these other people, like, you can't do that. No. I hate when they pull. And I do it myself, and I always try to stop myself. Don't go off of I don't care, but then like minutes before it sounded like you were caring. Be consistent. Just say I don't like that you were there. It is what it is. I'm not for it. I'm not against it, and move on.
If you wanted to go on there just for your promotion, just to build your career, I can't blame you for that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was
Like,
2 years before.
but just when people tell me like, oh, you need to address this, you need to like distance yourself from this, you need to talk about this. My whole thing is like that has nothing to do with the Zay that's here, and the Zay that's on this show, and me and this show. We are just two hosts on this show trying to do the best we can.
Oh, I know.
And
Buff, you're good. Like, you gotta remember,
No,
this is
it-
just testing
no, but it's
another
fucking-
L, and they're
no.
forcing you to have to bring it up like it's something.
no, it's fucking boring.
Cancel culture is trash, dude. We know it's boring. Keem
Look,
said it's boring.
fucking Gaff put something as Keen's response into the docket, by the way. If you want to pull it up.
Oh, put Keem's response to this in the docket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't, and first of all, me not agreeing with other people's ideologies have nothing to do. I'm wrong all the time, people are right all the time, and vice versa. Me trying to say that, oh, I think that women should have like, more of a, a set of holes type of title that some of these people look at is a bad opinion to have. I'd rather have that.
Let's fucking go from King TL. Bruh, I was flirting with Zay all day. She's hot to me, really. Each own. I don't really find her. Honestly, what it is for me with Zay is her face. Her face isn't. Her body is just weird. It's a little too blocky. I can't explain it, but it's a little weird. Like, I think the Weeb has such a hate boner for TK is a while. Dude, he really fucking Ken, I think Ken likes you a lot. Nightmare and Grim don't like you. One Buff Weed doesn't like you. It is crazy how most of the men on the LCU don't like you at all. See, it's hot. Dude, I'm just giving you my opinion. Honestly, if she had a little bit of more meat to her, then I think I would find her somewhat attractive. That's all that is with me. I think if she had just a little bit more meat, especially around the face, she would be more attractive to me. I don't like a girl that doesn't have a lot of meat in her face. It's wild. I'm being real with you. If she had just a little bit of meat in her face, then she'd be more attracted to me. Grace, I think, you know what? Grace is attracted to. I like Grace. The reason I kind of like Grace sometimes is there's a lot of meat in her face, which is funny because I also like someone like Lynx. She doesn't have a lot of meat in her face, but it worked. That's wild. They even noticed me. Real, yeah. Well, it's because it's because they kind of admitted, like King. They admitted that they watch the great stuff. They watch Link, so they know who you are. For Ken to say that, he has to know for a fact, right? You have to know that he's watching all these people's stuff. There's no way around that. That's like what makes it funny. It's like that Zay is prettier than Grace. That is a hot take, and honestly, I kind of have to agree with you.
That fucking bad opinion. And if you want to say King TL, if you want to say Zay runs this show, okay, we'll see.
Look, I think
Hey, Zay,
I think we
this
both.
show's nothing.
She does run the show. She does run nerds. Let's be real. Nerds would not be as successful even if the numbers are down. She's able to still maintain an audience and still get money. But what are you doing? You're unable yourself to do that. Like, my thing about One Buff Weed is he's too much of a weeaboo one-trick pony. And I like anime stuff, right? I like anime. I love building. I love reading manga. I love watching anime. I enjoy my nerdy anime bullshit, right? My neat and chicken tender stuff. I enjoy it. But at the same time, it's like I don't try to make that my whole thing, right? I grew out of trying to make anime my personality when I was like in my third year of high school, my fourth year of high school, right? When I got into college and like I was interacting with people, I kind of went away from the anime, characteristic shit that a lot of people try to pull, and I started to really become more of a person, right? Also, probably working in a construction job probably mentally broke me. That was a hot take. I'm gonna drag for that. Go for it.
This show. Apparently, you are this show, and nothing.
Hey,
you
can
me,
Buff. I don't want
means
you.
nothing.
Listen
Oh
to
my
me
God.
right now, Buff. Listen to me right now, Buff. You're honing in on one person in the comments saying that. How many people have said that to me, time and time again?
I
about
know.
you?
I know. I'm just fucking with you. I know.
Teamwork is what makes it work.
Okay, but One Buff Weed, you're particularly annoyed with King TL, right? If it was anybody else, you wouldn't care. But it wouldn't be surprised if these people are in our discourse. I would not be surprised. I don't know how, but I feel, but I got him concede, and he's knows I'm right here. But Ken being NBL, we're gonna have fun with him. I can tell. Ken is a great time. It's funny. Ken watched my videos on him. I didn't even know Ken even watched my stuff. It makes me wonder how many of these people are like secretly watching me, right? If any of the lolcowlive people are in my personal stream right now, come out. We know you're there. Ken, if you're watching me, come out. We know you're there, right? You can't hide from me. One Buff Weed, if you're in my personal stream, I won't hate on you. I won't call you funny words, right? I'll be nice. I won't tell Keemstar that you're interacting with somebody who's in the link server. I promise I will not tell, right? Right? Guys, we will be nice to the LCU people, right? Even though I believe in total obliteration, but we'll be nice. We'll be nice, right? Right? King TL, we'll be nice to One Buff Weed, right? If One Buff Weed's in here, Canada Fund Weave seem genuinely concerned. Ken is a good. I think I've criticized Ken a little bit in the past. I think he really is shaping up to be a better host, but I think it's too late. Like I don't wanna be doom pill. I don't wanna be black pill with Cafe. But I think it's too late. They should have brought that energy midway through Cafe, right? Right during Fat Camp is where they should have brought the energy, and he didn't. And that's how I feel. I feel like if Ken brought the energy, he would do it. But I also felt bad when they wanted to move Cafe to 6 in the morning. Like, I really felt bad. Like, the guy shouldn't suffer like that.
We wouldn't be here without each other right now. We are what is making this show work.
This is
We are a
right.
team. Don't fucking try to separate us. Okay, but this is
no,
what
the
he
fuck?
said. I'll read it for the people. I'm so bored. Can somebody please join Test Now and save Nightmare? He's drowning. Somebody please tell him it's not 4 in the morning. It's 7 p.m. You got to do something. And they're doing another exposed stream about me, by the way. I should mention that.
I think King TL, we know you're here for.
Well, I've got no love, but I like
Simple
Ken
as
and
bitch.
Bean, and
Well,
Blonde Bean is hot as
they're gonna
fuck.
be reviewing my second Fresh and Fit appearance, which I will.
I ain't gonna lie, Caribbean women when they have blonde hair, it's like got me acting strange, making me wanting that plantain. You know what I mean?
Say it does not have any crazy guest on it, and was even more boring than my first one because I don't think I fucking talked at all during my second appearance.
You didn't. Your
In
first
my
appearance, you barely
appearance,
fucking said anything.
How are you gonna talk at a pail full of 8 bitches? And bro, context that is missing. There was this one girl there, right? And she fucking reeked so fucking bad. The whole fucking place smelled like this bitch's BO. And I'll say who it was. It was that one bitch who was yapping with the like. I I can't remember. She had like a green bandana or something tied around her. She came in a fully different outfit, and they had to get her clothes and deodorant, everything, because she smelled so bad. And she said she was homeless, living in her car.
That's sad.
She would not shut up to me before the show started. It was like 3
That's
hours
actually
of her
really
fucking
sad.
yapping at
I
me.
would
I'm
feel
like, why
bad
are you
for her.
yelling at her in the show? 3 hours of her yapping in my ear.
Bruh. That's just nasty as fuck. What
It
the
was
fuck,
so
bitch?
gross, bro. It was so gross. It was so disgusting. And we were in like a very nice part of Miami, so it was like this bitch showing up like that was like crazy. We were all wearing dresses. We all looked nice. Like, and she came up looking a mess.
Mesa 1123
Thanks,
super chat
CK. Thank you, guys.
$99. Buff PLS get security before one of these weirdos buff nap you 20 party.
He's got a point. Someone's gonna buff nap ya.
Apparently, hey, look, I'm just good that Purple Flirp is not around, because I don't think he knows that we have this fucking goal, and I don't want to wear this thing for a month. You guys gonna get 2 or 3 streams like, haha, he's in the maid outfit, haha, funny, but I doubt I'm gonna be wearing this shit for a month. So
Oh,
we're fucking
I
fine.
want to respond to this one other comment, and then we're off this fucking topic. Dank IRL said they have homeless OF people on. They have anybody on. So the show is like you can either reach out to them to come on, or there is a casting person. Her name is Icy. She's the sweetest fucking person, by the way. Love that girl. And she will reach out to you.
Gafgarian super chatted $20.
Oh shit, we gotta hit carts.
Why aren't you hitting those carts yet?
Rip and
And she will reach
pepperoni.
out to you to be on the show. Usually if you go to the gym that she works at, but otherwise, like, they just whoever reaches out. Also, I was never hiding this podcast. To be noted, this podcast had 100,000 live viewers or whatever at the time when it was airing. Like,
She said it was 2 years ago. It's probably around after COVID has ended, so people were still really big into live stream. I mean, the live streaming is still big. Live streaming will always still be big regardless of changing tide. People enjoy watching people talk for hours on end about nonsensical stuff as a way to break the monotony of their own personal life. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing really wrong with that. So we're going to change gear just a little bit. I do want to focus on something that let's see if I can find it. I had it here a couple minutes ago, did I? About Ralph, good old Ralph Latour. He finally came back from the dead after, like faking people out, thinking he finally hit the bucket. So we're gonna watch Lynx's freak out against Ralph. Which I feel bad. I feel like, and she's admitted it, like, so Lynx admitted that, like, down the line from here onwards, she's gonna try to focus on, I'm gonna say this, she wants to focus anytime she gets a new guest or any new people on, she's gonna try to, like, do research, study them, and see who they are. Because I had to deal with Ralph. I think it left a bit of a sour taste in her mouth, and I feel bad for her.
The stream at the same time. All right, Lynx, how's it going?
You can do something right. That's surprising.
Now wait a minute. I
Wait a
unintentionally made
minute.
everybody think I was dead. That was pretty cool.
Are you kidding? Cool? So explain to me what the fuck happened. And give it to me straight.
I didn't want people to know when I was leaving for Colombia, so I went radio silent. I should have notified you since you were scheduled.
Yeah, everybody thought he was. Even I thought. I thought he.
kind of wanted people to think something was up. I just didn't.
I thought he finally hit the bucket. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought he finally hit the bucket. Like, cause I never got to see the Let's Fucking Go. Yeah, I saw a little bit of this, and then I fell asleep.
Want them to think I was dead. I didn't know that they would think I was dead. Right? I thought they might have thought I relapsed or something, or it turned into this whole giant thing where everybody thought I was dead. So
And once you saw that, you kept running with it and you didn't correct it.
I did not correct it, no, because I did kind of think it was funny how easily they believed.
So it's funny that the weekly show I had planned every week, and I've had planned every week forever.
Yeah, it was pretty smart.
Reschedule it simply for you. You don't even contact me. You don't even text me. You don't let me know what the fuck is going on. And then on top of that, it was very important, that interview, because we had Rush admit that he can, firsthand out of his mouth, not once but twice, admit that he can see DMs, and that is not a federal or legal offense. And that was
Actually, that was from me. Believe it or not, the reason she has that clip was from me. That's like literally, if you ask her, like the reason she's able to prove it is because of me. Um, some context. So there's a guy named Froggy Fresh, whatever. He's on YouTube, and I think a couple days ago, I think it was like on the weekend, he had Laura Rush and a bunch of people on, right? And in that, Laura Rush admitted to a lot of stuff. I have both clips. She has them, thank God. I did delete one of them, but I kept the 8 minute one I have on hand, um, for record, just in case. So if anyone wants those clips, she has them. Bruh, you around the game for real. I don't talk about my like so I've been asked this before. I think it was Jimmy back when lolcow reject when you and Dan were in the head of lolcow reject when it came back for the second time. Jimmy, right? I think that's his name. You dab around every hood, I'm noticing. Yeah, yeah. I've been around, dude. I've been around the internet for 15 years, 16 years. Um, my first time being any part of the community, funny enough, was 4chan. And then in parallel, right, on 4chan, I wasn't like really big into like gaming and like people like the AVGN and all that stuff. So I dab around that stuff for a long period of time. Like people like Ray William Johnson, Fred, early Keemstar, early Wings of Redemption, early Boogie. I can tell you the list of people I used to watch back then. And then around like 2012, 2013, around when I was funny enough an atheist and very left leaning, like a left leaning liberal, like you is so cool. Thank you. All right, also early RTU, like it was the first time where I liked like early RTU. RTU was really good back then because he actually talked about tech and was really into it. But then like RTU became a little finicky, and so I funny enough, RTU is the first person I ever unsubscribed and then resubscribed back. He was the first person to ever done that. I rarely unsubscribe to people, rarely, and it's even more rare for me to resubscribe. I think he's like the first person I ever done that, like offhand, the first person I ever done that in my whole life. Um, Kind of shows kind of what kind of person RTU is. But during 2012, 2013, back when I was like a little bit of a left wing liberal, right around when like Occupy Wall Street happened, I got into like a lot of like atheists. Like at that time, that's when I was a bit of an atheist. But at the same time, like I got into things like the skeptic community. So I got into like Sargon of Akkad. I got into Armored Skeptic. I got into Thunderfoot, Suan Head. I was really into that kind of stuff back then. The NTSAW, like early Mr. Medicare when he was called the Internet Aristocrat, early Annie Worski, Ice Poseidon. Like those were the people I was. Naked A back before Crowd T was a fucking like back before Crowd T was actually a sensible person, and he went off the fucking wall because the alt-right literally broke his mind. I learned about this Keem shit. It's when Sava show before then. I was only conspiracy, and the conspiracy table is how I met the dwarves. I'm known about conspiracy stuff. Like I used to watch people like the creepy little book and stuff like that. Now I'm just so black pill pretty much. I met Grace, sold out to the place. I'm out and I'm at now because I was so over being so box conspiracy guy. No, that's fine. Game is game. I ain't gonna harbor, call you out for it. You gotta do what you gotta do, right, to expand your community and your reach. That's perfectly fine. I ain't gonna harp. Um, so around like 2016, 2017, right? Not getting to, I got into a lot of political stuff. That's when like I used to watch a lot of like libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, stuff on the human biodiversity, like alternative hypothesis, like stuff like that. Like I used to watch like from 2016 to like up to 2020. I was really into political commentary stuff and religious stuff at the time. That's when I reconverted back to Catholicism. right around Trump and right when the alt-right came onto the scene, and then like a year or two, like literally a year and a half later, they blew the hell up for, Richard Spencer, the fucking dumbass. And I also used to watch like Bloodsport all the time, right? Back when the kill stream was still legally on YouTube, right? Back when Annie Worski was with the French Quebecian guy, Tonkin Saw. I could tell you all the different people. Okay, yeah, I did that too. Crypto guides and kill stream shit I did as well. I remember early crypto channels as well. Jordan Peterson. I've been all over the stuff, and then like on top of that, in parallel, I used to be into this gaming and anime stuff. I remember when anime on YouTube was on the rise, where to the point where you couldn't deny around like 2014, 2015, I saw anime and anime stuff completely dominate everything. Yeah, I roll in the alt right shit. I would OG kill stream, yes sir. Yeah, we have a lot in common about that. I don't really talk about my own political stuff, because I don't want to get a lot of bomb. I don't want to get hit for a lot of shit, even though like it doesn't really matter as much. Yeah, but I used to roll with like a lot of alt right and like a lot of communist people. Like I remember, I used to talk to those people all the time. I still have some connection on both sides. I'm pretty sure I still have some connection with like actual like communists and actual like no more of the alt right because they're completely dead, but like people of that nature. I think I still have some connection on both sides. Like if I really wanted to, I can just like like I don't either. Yeah, but and I think I also still have connected to some Catholics and some Orthodox people. I can, if I really wanted to like broaden my horizon, I can connect to those people pretty well. Especially on Twitter. Like I don't think it would be hard. But like yeah, back in that period, sure, I hear you. Yeah, I was there. But back in like in 2015, 2014, like I remember when anime blew up, and I was like into anime before that, and I remember them kind of growing. I remember when VTubers were popular. Like I've been around like the block so many times. Like when people ask me like what community you're from, like I usually tell them like I'm not really from any particular community. I jump from one community to the other. Because usually at some point they either become stale and boring, or they just kind of stagnate, or they implode on themselves. So I usually leave when I can. Like before I got into my own stuff, and before I got into lolcowlive stuff, I used to be into like commentary stuff like Turkey Tom and people like that. But like Turkey Tom is a bit of an F slur nowadays, and same thing with Nick Avocado, not Avocado, Nick the Oreo, and people like that, like Mudohara. They all kind of just become what they are now. Pause. Like Mudohara, right? Mudohara is now insufferable to watch. Like I don't even. Yeah, my other thing with comedy, podcast, LOS shit. Yeah, like I can't even watch Mudohara is like unbearable to watch. Watching Turkey Tom is not even worth it anymore, or even like the gamer from Mars. Like it's funny, I actually met the gamer from Mars like a year ago. He was in my town, so I got to meet him. That was pretty cool. And yeah, that the whole gang suck is wild. Yeah, yeah, they all went down. They all went down like the last 2 or 3 years, right? I kind of watched them towards their end, right? Towards where just as they were declining, I still watched Mudahar. Mudahar, my issue with Mudahar is such a fucking bitch. He complains about everything and he won't do shit. And then he complains about getting shit on X because of him being Hindu, but like not realizing, and I'm not trying to be racist, but like if you've never dealt with Hindus on the internet, they can be really hard and insufferable. And Mudahar doesn't understand that, and yet he exhibits the same problem. Yet he complains about Canadians being racist to Hindus, to Indians. But the problem is, Mudahar, is that Canada gives more rights to Indians than any other people in the whole fucking country. So why the hell are you moving from Canada, where being an Indian is basic, especially if you're like the lower caste Indian, where you have more rights and you're able to get rich? Right? Why the hell are you moving to a place where it's the like? Are you fucking stupid, Murohara? So I would never watch Turkey Time again. There's a small crowd still doing it. Do you know now recording podcast? First time I ever heard of them. I said I like his links. That the tech guy, right? I'm thinking of, right? That got a. Let me look them up. I'll give them a watch. I'll give them a watch. Um. Yeah. I think I've. We're so back, Miss Betrayal. And the first time I heard of them, I'll give them a sub. I'll give them a sub. I'll give them a watch when I get a chance. They seem pretty chill to watch. So yeah, I only listen because Linux, and I'm true blue lung stan. I don't know if you know this guy, King TL. There's a guy named Mr. Stan. He recently got completely outed. He got outed as being some weird role playing lolly guy. Mr. Medicare blew him up so hard they literally banned him off of X. And I have my opinion on him because I find him kind of insufferable. Yeah, they suck now. Yeah. Mr. Sheen he's insufferable because his opinions on everything is so unnoted without any sense of nuance or trying to give the opposite reason why somebody would disagree with him, right? He doesn't. Yeah. Oh, you know Mr. Sheen? Yeah, he got banned off of Twitter because of Mr. Medicare blew him up because he decided to pick a fight with Mr. Medicare for some no way he's clear. Mr. Sheen is mile. He was clear. Apparently, this is what I've heard. I watched him in the past. I don't know. I feel like sometimes he becomes insufferable when he starts to pick a fight. Like, I'm not trying to be a deadhead. I just think sometimes he becomes a little insufferable when he starts to pick a fight that he clearly can't win. So I'll let him cook if I see his streams are on. Yeah. His streams are pretty fun to watch. He's sort of the outcast of the commentary community. His stuff on Turkey Tom are really good. I'll give him that much. I mean, the guy was trying to be like Mr. Scene was trying to be Mr. Mendiker. He was trying to replace Mr. He's admitted that before, and I'm like, dude, like, just be yourself. Mr. Mendiker, the one-time thing we're never gonna see, right? Like, like that's why it was so stupid for him to pick a fight with him. You were never going to win a fight. It don't matter you were right or wrong. It's like you this stupid and now you're coping, right? It's like don't pick a fight with somebody that you were trying to be. That's stupid as hell. It's like if I would try to pick a fight with I don't know with some fucking rando that I was trying to be. It ain't gonna work. Be yourself. Be you. Be sometimes to make it through the game, you gotta be yourself. I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee. I'm gonna. Yeah, he was a badass when he got kicked. Yes, he's the next one, Mr. Medicare. He's a class, but how he's still just by sheer will alone, the man hasn't even like. It is actually pretty crazy that Mr. America is still alive, even though he should, like, in all fairness, be dead. But maybe we should just enjoy it for however long he's still alive. He was supposed to have a stream over the weekend, but he pushed it back to this weekend, which sucks because I gotta do shit, right? I gotta go do shit with friends this weekend. But if it's on like a Saturday night or a Sunday night, I'll probably be able to catch it. Um, yeah, but yeah, he should be kind of dead by now. I honestly, Ralph should be dead. Let's be real. Ralph the Tour, Ralph the Mouse should be dead as well. The man is literally. I'm convinced that he has like one kidney and half a liver, barely functioning to keep his body alive. The man is like a literal walking corpse. Right, the man is like barely alive half the time. When he was on Link's stuff and everything, I felt bad for her. 'Cause, like, dude, this man is barely alive, and he's talking to her. It's like, oh,
A big thing for us to talk about, but you thought it would be funny to get a little attention from people, so you blew me off.
I should have messaged you. I didn't message anybody though. It wasn't you. I know you were scheduled for the show, so it was different.
You're insane. You had me sitting there fucking worried. I was on call with this Nicholas guy for like 2 hours doing an interview, trying to pinpoint where you were and what the fuck happened to you. Yeah, for 2 hours I was listening to this guy and giving him everything that I knew in hopes that he could figure out what the fuck was happening. And then that article, I had to fucking translate the whole thing just so I could read it. And I read it like 20 fucking times. Like, is this really him? Is this really him?
Come on, it's funny.
You still think this is funny?
No, I should have messaged you. But I was like, well, if I tell anybody, it might get, I wasn't going for everybody to think I was dead.
as you were, Ralph.
One of the last messages you sent me is how bad you want to see your fucking family. I thought you fucking killed yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that. Actually, I didn't know this. I knew it was in April.
I don't think this is funny. Why are you fucking laughing?
What?
To be fair, we all probably thought he would have at this point ended, but I'm surprised he's still kicking.
Just all this stuff happened at once, Lynx. Like, all these things just came together and allowed Cog and other people to put together this false narrative that I was dead. First off, just because you were booked on the show, I should have notified you. Second off, you've been a good friend as well. I should have notified. There's a few people I probably should have told.
To be fair, of all the people Ralph has ever met throughout the course, Lynx is probably the very few people that are genuinely nice. Like, I will stand by it that I think Lynx has been one of the few people that has been genuinely and trying to understand Ralph as a person. And it is fucked up that what Ralph did wasn't. Like, because Lynx has spoken about her past, and I do feel bad for her, and she's been traumatized from it. And Ralph is a kind of a fucking idiot, and he doesn't realize what he's doing. It's kind of wrong, right? It ain't right to do that, Ralph, to a girl that I'm pretty sure she spilled her gut to, right? I'm pretty sure she spilled her gut to him a few times already. Like, and then she does care. There's the sincerity in her voice that she does genuinely care for Ralph, and it's like a good thing. But Ralph's a fucking idiot who's probably autistic.
And then once it got out of hand, okay, I could have stopped it. That's true. But it was kind of funny to me. I was trending worldwide.
So you did it for clout?
No, I didn't do
I don't
it.
care about fame.
I didn't do it. They did it.
I think
Ralph, you did it. You come on, Ralph. Don't lie to her. She knows that you're she's gonna know that you're lying to her and bullshitting her. Like, you did it for clout. So just be honest.
that you're safe to me is more important than fame.
See?
I mean,
How much fame are we talking?
Maybe I have morals. You know what? Honestly, for the last 2 weeks that we've been talking every single day, I genuinely thought all these things that people were saying about you were a lie, but maybe they're all true.
Now wait a minute, Lynx.
When they are kind of true.
I just didn't want anybody to. I wasn't trying to start. I didn't know it was gonna get like this. That everybody was gonna think I was dead.
But once it got like this, you didn't stop it. You kept going with it. That's ridiculous.
It was funny. how stupid they were, right?
You know what else is funny? You know what else is funny? Suck my dick.
Link's not pleased. I take it by that.
Oh, we've been streaming over 2 hours. Holy shit! I'm surprised. You kind of tell that it hits him like a you know, a whole ton of bricks. I mean, it should. Like, you met a person who genuinely cared and who wants to get to know you and wants to be friends. 100%. And then you kind of pull something that you shouldn't be doing, especially to a girl who's gone through a lot of crap. You can't just do that shit to a person who's really, like, you know, gone through a lot of crap, especially with the whole lolcowlive stuff. And there was an opportunity in a story on your end that would have really been a hamper against the LCU, but like an idiot, you decided not to do that because you wanted to play dead and you wanted clout and you wanted people to talk about you. And guess what? It failed miserably. And really, that's how, you know, good old Ralph Lator's like. Wait, it's kids. I got, that's no well online. And I feel bad. I feel bad for Lynx. You know, and I really do feel bad for her because he doesn't really deserve this kind of crap, especially like the last month or two where she's been going through a lot of drama, a lot of personal issue, and the one person she finds that is genuinely nice to her on a content basis kind of fuck it up, Ralph. You know, this is why nothing ever comes up for the good old Ralph or Ralph Mail. Good old black coffee. My only true friend in life. Yeah, oh boy, we covered quite a bit of stuff that I wasn't really trying to cover. You know? I hope you guys you know, we're not really gonna end the stream off anytime soon. Just yet. I'll probably say in the next couple minutes, maybe like the next hour, 30 minutes, depending on how I feel, we'll probably end it off. You know, I just wanted to cover this because I thought about doing a video on this. Maybe I'll do a video on it, maybe I won't do a video. It depends on how I feel currently, right? That's how I feel currently. You know, I want to see how things are developing. I do know one thing though. Sadly, the Dorps are gonna use this as a rallying cry against Link. So not really against her, but they're gonna use this as like, haha, we tell you, Link, this is why you shouldn't be associating yourself with Ralph Tor. Stuff like that. But I think she can handle herself. She usually knows how to handle herself. So it's kind of like, it is what it is. Are the test people still on? Yeah, the test people are still on for some godforsaken reason. Alright, we're gonna look. I want to watch something from Ruby. Ruby released an hour-long supercut of the current saga of Grace. I want to give it a watch. We're gonna give this a. I may make a video on this. I may or may not make a video on it. We'll see what happens. We're gonna watch this.
No social skills. Shut the fuck up, retard.
Now we gotta find this retard.
No social skills. Shut the fuck up, retard.
Now we gotta find this retard Adam.
Oh, who works here, bro? I gotta stop trolling. Excuse me? Do you know if the terminal D is that way or that way?
You're in A and B.
How do I get to D? In B? Why is she telling me D? Just what's good with that shit? Above the doors. I am! The fucking retard bitch. Do you work here or are you just a CIA agent?
I work here.
Okay, how do I get out? This girl just told me there's only...
Who is he? How is he meeting these people? How is Grace meeting some of these people? Do they not have any social awareness? I'm actually shocked that these people made it this far in life.
I'm trying to get to D. I'm not gay. I don't want D. Like, how do I get to D?
What?
There is no D here.
There is no D here?
No, it's only A and B.
Okay, so this girl's just absolutely brain dead and retarded, which I knew from the beginning. Not you. You're very smart, intelligent. Bro, come meet me or I'm done, bro. Come meet me or I'm flying to fucking... I'm going to Russia or Romania, bro. Like, hurry the fuck up, man. Someone come...
Russia or Romania? What?
How do I...
Welcome, Adam. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Alright, at least... Harley's did.
All right, let's go. You're 5'10"?
Oh, I'm 5'5", 5'5".
I don't know about 5'10".
You're wearing fucking like 3-inch boots. Oh, fuck out of here.
Okay.
Holy shit, Grace is a tall ass woman.
Did a height check. No, wait. This way? Yeah, this way.
Look at her shoes and look at mine. And look.
This is my POV, by the way. Sup, Adam?
These are Air Forces. You're wearing boots with like 3...
His little legs can't keep up with the big dogs. He's falling behind. Kev, we gotta walk slower so his little legs can catch up.
That's too slow. Where's the RD?
Down here, to the right.
You get fatter? Did you get fatter?
My pocket's getting bored.
I mean, Ruby's 100% right. Ruby's 100% right. Yeah, Kim only works with fat retard, and Grace only works with short autistic guys. That's, if you think about it, that is 100%. Lalo, War Chief, all these other people. What the hell is this shit, yo? What even is this shit? Ruby, save me.
Right?
Adam, would you do the honors?
I know you were like 6 something. 5'10". You're not 5'10". Okay, she's wearing 3-inch heels. I'm wearing normal shoes. Tell her to come stand right next to me. You're like a miniature guy.
We've been streaming for 2 hours. We've been streaming for a good 2 hours. It's been a very relaxing 2 hours. Give me a second. I'm still kind of reeling back from being extremely sick. You know, watching all the lolcow stuff is hilarious. It makes me realize that you know, my life can be hard, but you know what? My life is a lot better than most of these people, right? At least I'm not. I pray to God I don't ever become a lolcow. Right? My life is at least better than some of these people. At the end of the day, could be better, could be worse, but it's a lot better than these guys. All right, where are we at? I decided to take a small break, and then everybody pop right back in. Oh shit. As always, everybody, like, share, sub. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your dogs, tell your asshole people, you know. Tell people. Keep going. We're close to 500 subs. Some weird reason I have 330 people sub and they enjoy this stuff that I make. Little burp. We're gonna move over to the lolcowlive stuff just for a little bit, because I want to torture myself to 1.35 speed.
Boogie's mad at me. He's been fucking texting and bitching up a fucking storm. Boogie, why are you so fucking upset with me? I don't get it. What's your beef?
I'm upset with all kinds of fucking problems. My biggest issue right now is, number one, why is season 3 beginning now? Does that make season 2 a super short season? And then secondly, how have you picked a host knowing you haven't even talked to me about it? I suggested we use all of April to do tryouts and bring in like Foodie Beauty, McJuggernuggets, like real fucking big names to blow up the show, to get new eyes on the show, find real talent, and now you've gone behind my back and secretly picked somebody, and you're not telling me who it is.
No, because you're gonna leak it.
That is true. Boogie would leak it.
I won't leak shit, retard.
I can't tell you who our host is because you're gonna leak it.
I'm not gonna leak shit, retard. Why would I leak it?
By the way, we invited Wings to come on this show because we're going to talk about like season 2. You know, we're going to talk about it. We're going to go into details about it. And obviously, Wings was here season 1 and season 2, so we do want him to be here. I don't know if he'll make it or not. Did he get back to you?
No. And so I'm just going to straight up ask you, based on the thumbnail, is it Jordy? Is Jordy going to be the new host? Because that's a conversation I think we needed to have.
I mean, the answer is no. Jordy's completely gone. Boogie. Move on. Move on.
Somehow talk. I like talk to Wings through another person, kind of. And I was trying to get Jordy's head.
What time is it now? Oh, wait, streaming. I'm probably gonna stand in here. Thank you everybody for joining me in my 2-hour stream. Appreciate it. Egg Picker, King TL, Stinky Brew, Loading. Thanks you guys so much for enjoying my stream. As always, we are slowly growing in numbers. We're slowly growing in subs and all that. Means a lot for me. It really, really does mean a lot that a lot of people watch my stuff. We got to watch some stuff from Link. We got to watch some stuff from the lolcowlive stuff, and go really into sort of their season finale, right? Their end point, the end and the beginning, right? The alpha and the omega. That's some people would say it. Honestly, I don't know where lolcowlive it's gonna be heading for the beginning of season 3, but I did make it clear in the video that should be released in the next couple minutes, and that it's sort of like season 2 was expanding and detracting. Every time they expanded, every time they moved forward and got new hosts, got whatever, there was always people going against it harder and harder. And every particular drama they went through, there was more and more hatred. There was more and more backlashes, right? You know, started out with Queen and Rewind, and you know, the introduction of Grace and Lynx and a bunch of other people. There was some detracting. Then a little bit after that period of time, well, you know, then there was more and more shows, and people didn't really like it too much. Then there was the whole situation between Savage and Tina, between the Milkers and the Queens, right? And then a bunch of other stuff, some doxing and some, you know, in their attempt to make their community pure and isolated from everybody else, they ban and block certain people that were not allowed to be there anymore, right? Especially me. And like really from there, you know, and they kept expanding, trying to do new stuff that didn't really work out in the end. Again, season 2 can be best described as attracting newer people, you know, creating newer shows, creating an ecosystem, right? And the truth about it is, it's not a bad thing to create different shows, but the problem is that Keemstar wants high viewership and high donation. He's not getting either. And I think it's because the other shows haven't had enough time to develop. They haven't had enough time to really find their footing. And his willingness to not acknowledge that shows that. Plus, like in the case of Queen and Rewind, they benefited heavily from already an audience that were there. Most of the people who watch live end up watching Queen and Rewind, but they don't watch the other stuff because they're not as interesting. Milker was able to survive because I think they did develop a strong enough audience, right? But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see with the new schedule, the people that are moving, being canceled. We'll have to wait and see. And as always, I would be there, right? As they expand, I expand, and I detract them even more, you know. Thanks everybody for watching, and it means a lot for me for those who stuck around as long for 2 hours, right? You know, it means a lot for me. And you know, well, obviously, when the stuff comes out, we'll watch them, we'll cover them, we'll review them, we'll rewind, as some would say, right? Rewind. And I know for a fact that some of the hosts or some of the people from there do watch me. I think I can give that much prop. But till then, y'all, as always, have a good one. Have a good morning. Have a good night. Have a good day. And as always, God bless. Cue the outro.